and welcome back to the Sweet Doll Box. As you can tell by the seashells around me, this is going to be an oceanic doll, or more specifically, a tropical doll. This is going to be part of the Tropical Doll collaboration with Dollightful. When I heard about this collaboration event, I was so excited. It's always been a dream of mine to collaborate with Dollightful, and I guess this is just one way to do it, so I'm super excited about it. Let's look at the dolls I have in my stock box to see if any of them would be a good candidate. So without further ado, let's get started! I keep most of my stock dolls under my bed. Creepy, right? I have 2 drawers full of them. I have a bit of a problem. So far, I haven't seen any good dolls. So let's move on to my other stock box. My stock box of boy dolls. They tend to get lost in my sea of girls, so I decided to put them in a separate box. Let's see, I have 3 Gil dolls, 2 Deuce Gorgon dolls, and 1 Charming doll? I don't remember which one he is, but he has sculpted pants, so he's a no-no for this project. Let's see which ones I picked out. Alright, here are the lucky candidates. I have the Boo York Deuce Gorgon doll. He's got loose legs though. I have a regular Gil doll, so he's in pretty good condition. He's got his fins. And I have a Gil doll with a broken arm, so he's missing an arm. That'd be cool to make a prosthetic limb, but I don't think I'm gonna do that for this project. Alright, so the middle Gil Webber it is. Let's start on his face up. He has that sculpted on hair. I'll have to remove it with an X-Acto knife. Once I've run the knife under the edges of the Gil fin hair, I yank it off. See? All better. I take acetone nail polish remover and a Q-tip and smudge off all of his factory paint. Once everything has been smudged around a little bit, I go back over with a cotton ball so I can remove all of the smudges. Then I spray the doll's face with 1 layer of Mr. Super Clear, and then I can begin the face up. I have a hard time drawing on guys' face molds because I'm so used to drawing very pretty eyes on girls, so I had to use this picture as a reference. I really like how it turned out, and I think it turned out very similar to the picture. But I start by sketching in the shape of the eye with a dark blue watercolor pencil. I want this doll to have bright coral eyes. I think it'll go great with his blue-green complexion. I want his hair to be a similar coral color like his eyes. I just really like the contrast, so I decided to stick with it. I create the shape of an eyebrow by blotting on some pastels and then shaping it with a kneaded eraser. I wanted to accent the gill slits on his nose, so I decided to brush on some pastels there to create some definition. I then used some pastels to give his lips some color. add some teeny tiny hairs to his eyebrows to make them look more detailed. As you can see, I'm trying to go for like a shaved eyebrow look so he looks more tough, you know? I want him to look tough, so taking some darker pastels, I blush right underneath his cheekbones to emphasize them, and a little bit on his forehead. I think it gives him a more chiseled face. I wanted to accent the cool sculpted scales on Gil's chest, so I decided to blush it a little bit to bring it out. I also decided to give him some sideburns. I don't know why, I just thought that they would look cool and his face needed some more color. Wanting to add some more detail, I add some lines under his eye to give him some eyelids. I continue to add more colors with pastels and my watercolor pencils to get the colors darker and more saturated. When I feel like the colors aren't building up anymore, I start using darker colors. I want to outline the eye with a darker red and the pupil with a darker red as well. It worked so well, it looks like he's staring into my soul. It's kind of creepy. Using a very sharp dark blue pencil, I draw a line between the top and bottom lip, as well as add some lines for some detail to his lips. I trace over the outline of his eye as well, so it looks a little bit darker. I want to have kind of a gradient in his eye, so I shade the upper part of the iris a little bit. His sideburns need a little more detail as well, so I also draw some hairs on them. Because his hair is going to be glued onto his head, I don't want to see his blue skin tone through the hair. So I pastel on some orange so that it looks orange underneath. I also tried to add some scaly details on his forehead, but they just kind of ended up looking like a smudge, but I guess that's okay. I just wanted to emphasize the fact that he is, as a matter of fact, a fish. Or a fish man. I've been calling him my fish boy, like fish B-O-I, so it's like, boy, he's my fish boy. I'm ridiculous. He ended up looking a little bit more real than what I wanted him to, but that's okay. I just fix it by adding a couple of dots to his face to add to the realism, like blemishes on his face. And back to the scales for more blushing, because I don't think it's dark enough yet. I also wanted to add some blushing to his stomach to make it look like he either had abs or was kind of starved so you could see his rib cage a little bit. I also blushed his belly button area. Alright, back to the face, and for some reason my lighting looks really yellow, but I continue to darken the colors. I want them to look a little bit more orange, but still have that coral look, you know? So yeah. And there we go, looks like my light problem is fixed for now. I don't even remember what I did to change that. I want his pupils to be darker, so instead of kind of going for a red pupil, I decided to just give him black pupils. They really look like they're staring into your soul. It's very creepy. I didn't
think the whites of the eyes were white enough, so taking a little bit of water and the tip of my paintbrush, I rub it against the tip of my watercolor pencil and brush it directly onto the doll's face, and it makes it a little bit more white, but I don't really think it did much in the end. I continue to darken the top of the iris so it has a more shaded look. I also went back and added more hair to the sideburns to give them even more detail. I decided to give this doll full body blushing, with blushing at the elbow, wrist, tips of the fingers, the knees, the ankles, and the tips of the toes. I think it really made it more realistic, and I actually really like the way it looks. Alright, since we're done with the face up, let's move on to the hair. I start by cutting yarn to the length that I want, tying it around a knitting needle, and then brushing it out with a pet hairbrush. It ends up being really fluffy, and when you iron it, it actually looks like hair. I cut off the hair from the knitting needle and glue it directly onto the head using Elmer's glue all. But, I mean, this stuff dries really slow, so I ended up switching to tacky glue towards the end because I just couldn't wait. To get the middle, I roll up some hair like this and then stick it on the back of the head. Yep, just like that. It looks so weird. Like I said, once I've gone around the head a few times, I switched over to tacky glue and began gluing on wefts with that. It dries so much faster than Elmer's glue. To glue the wefts on, I first apply some glue, then press the weft firmly against the head, and so the glue seeps through the whole thing and it will stay in place when it's dry. It's great! Once all of the hair has been glued on, I start by whacking off a good few inches of it because it's too long and he was looking like a troll. I don't really know how to describe what I did with the rest of the hair. I just kind of chopped it here and there and then refined it with an eyebrow razor. But that's pretty much all I can say for it. I wanted it to look messy and spiky, so I guess it's the best I could do. So unfortunately, the color of the eyebrows didn't quite match up with the color of the yarn hair, so I decided to try to make a gradient from the bottom of the yarn hair to the top, just a very slight one, by adding some red to the bottom so it matched his eyebrows a little bit better. I think it was worth it, but you can't really tell because the color is so bright anyway, it's destroying the camera. Oh well, it looks alright. This was literally the night before it was due, so yeah. Well, I thought it was due on the 3rd, but turns out it was due the 4th, so oops, my bad. But I was really stressing out at this point, so it was kind of a rushed job. So here he is with the pastel hair. Not sure if you can even see the gradient, but thought I'd show you anyways. It's not quite how I hoped it would turn out, but since it was so late already that I was just going with it. It's alright. I can fix it later if I want to, but for the collaboration, I'm just gonna stick with it. Now that we're done with the doll itself, I might as well show you the accessories. So I made a pair of pants and ripped them at the bottom so that they would look tattered like a Castaway. Glued some leather to the waistband so it would look like a belt, and painted on a buckle with gold paint. I also made this little satchel for my fish boy, but I didn't film it because my method is kind of iffy right now and it was my first time ever making a bag. But if you'd like to see a tutorial on how to make it, let me know in the comments down below and I will make one. I paint a little gold button onto the flap, I don't know what to call it, of the bag so it matches the belt. So I put the bag on the doll and I realized it was just too plain. So I added some accessories to it, like a key on a little rope and a little chain. Now all we need is some junk to fill up the bag. But what would a castaway on an island have in his bag? I was thinking seashells. I found these in a box in my room, and I have apparently been saving them for a craft project, and I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to use them. So let's shove them inside of my little bag. All of the pieces for his outfit are done. Let's get him all dressed up. And with that, we're done. So here's my completed tropical doll for Dollightful's Tropical Doll 2019 collaboration. I really enjoyed working on this doll, and this is my first Monster High Guy custom, so it was really fun to do. You know what he's missing though? He still needs a name. I can't think of any good ones right now though. Do you guys have any names that you think would be good for this doll? If so, please leave them in the comments down below. I can't wait to see all the creative stuff y'all come up with. Well, that about wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and yeah, bye everyone!